Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. Fire potential impacts for the next few days are shown here. The main impact we're looking at is another cold frontal passage coming in midweek with some gusty winds out ahead of that front in far western Wyoming today. Tomorrow we see more winds, a little bit more widespread over northern Nevada into central and eastern Idaho and northern Utah, although the relative humidities aren't quite as low across the north. And then the front swings through Wednesday into Thursday, bringing those cooler temperatures and rain and snow showers to the north. Yesterday was a fairly quiet day with generally sunny and dry conditions for all but far northern portions of the area over the north central Idaho mountains here, where we did see some precip and maybe a strike or two of lightning. The initial attack was very light yesterday with five fires for 2.5 acres and large fire growth of 61 acres. Precipitation for the past 7 days is shown here on the left in inches. It's been a wet week, in particular a few wet days in Utah last weekend. And if we look at the percent of average, very wet, abnormally wet system in Utah with that low just sitting there, and then some above average precipitation over western Nevada as well. Still some dry pockets in Idaho and western Wyoming. ERCs have been on the downward trend. They've flattened out just a little bit with the dry air mass in place right now. If we look closer at the ERCs for the east central Idaho mountains, we can see those values have rebounded just a bit from the precip last weekend, and those values should level out over the coming days. Still above normal for the time of year. And then western Wyoming, same kind of story. We saw a big drop, and then they've rebounded a bit and leveling out near historical records and above normal for the time of year. But with the next system coming in, these values should start to come back down again. This morning satellite imagery shows generally dry westerly flow across much of the Great Basin ahead of the next trough moving into the Pacific Northwest. Again, for today, generally dry westerly flow in place across the area. No high risk today. We have some gusty winds popping up this afternoon over the western Wyoming mountains here and then along the Sierra front, but generally lighter winds elsewhere across the Great Basin. And then precipitation-wise, maybe just some isolated storms across our far northern mountains in Idaho, and then maybe a storm or two probably just outside our area in western Wyoming. On Wednesday, things start to change. With the trough developing over the Pacific Northwest, we'll see much stronger winds across the area and an increasing chance for showers into western Idaho. Winds really pick up across much of the area on Wednesday, especially northern and western Nevada, portions of Idaho and western Wyoming, where gusts will be up into the 40-mile-an-hour range there. But it will be a day of transition with precipitation moving into the north. Not sure how much precipitation we'll get into far western Wyoming by earlier in the day, but by late in the day, Wednesday night into Thursday, the precipitation will fill in a little bit further east. Utah and Nevada remain on the dry side. On Thursday, that trough will quickly move off to the east, bringing drier conditions back in later in the day. But throughout the day, again, Wednesday into Thursday, we should see those showers continuing across the north. Dry across Utah and Nevada. Temperatures drop on Thursday behind that front with highs back into the 40s and 50s across Idaho and back into the 60s for the most part in northern Nevada and northern Utah. And then again, looking at that precip, mainly focused over the eastern Idaho and western Wyoming into Thursday. 3-day precip totals are shown here. Again, this is that kind of fast-moving trough coming in Wednesday into Thursday across the north. Friday, ridge builds in for warming and drying conditions across the area, lighter winds. And we'll see those dry conditions continue into Saturday ahead of another trough moving into the Pacific Northwest. That trough should start to affect the area beginning Sunday with increasing winds across the region. And then the trough moving through starting on Monday, bringing cooler temperatures and some showers to the north. 7-day precip totals are shown here. Again, with that next storm coming in next weekend, Sunday into Monday, we'll see another shot of precipitation, a little bit better chance of precipitation to the central Idaho mountains, western Wyoming, and we could even see some precipitation a little bit further south into northern Nevada and northern Utah. But this again is for the storm next weekend, Sunday into Monday, so still a little bit far off to have a lot of confidence yet. Extended forecast for October 29th through November 4th calls for below normal temperatures across much of the western U.S. and above normal chances for precipitation, especially across the north. This concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.